Lesson 48, Faster Code. When you run an Excel macro, one of the things that takes the longest is for Excel to continually have to redraw the screen after every line of the macro. Particularly if you're selecting cells, which you shouldn't be selecting cells that often, but if you're selecting cells, Excel has to redraw the screen, and it just takes forever for Excel to redraw it. If you turn off the screen updating, you in many times can shave seconds, maybe sometimes 30–40% off the processing time of your macro. Let's get started. Okay, so I have a data set here, and we're going to run the macro that creates a variety of reports, one per customer. But I want to take a look at how long this macro is taking to run. So we'll go over to Visual Basic, and I added a few lines of code. I set up a variable here called start time. This gets set at the beginning of the macro, and it's just equal to a system variable called time. And at the end of the macro, I create another variable called end time and set that equal to end time. And then I want to see the difference between the two. So I want to debug.print. This is a command that will print the results to the immediate pane. So we can take a look in the immediate pane and see how long it took to run. Okay, so we'll switch back to Excel, and we're going to run our macro, run report for each customer, click run, and you can see it's going through and doing all kinds of things. All right, 27 reports have been created. Let's go over to Visual Basic and see how long it took. So Control G for the immediate pane, started at 8:58:30, ended at 8:58:37, so it took about 7 seconds to run all of that code. All right, now let me show you what will happen if we turn off screen updating. So right up here at the beginning, application.screenUpdating is equal to false. What that does is it says, hey, look, while you're running this section of the macro, don't bother to redraw the screen time after time after time. And then down here, right before the message box, application.screenUpdating equals true. Turn it back on. Now, some arguments, some controversy over application.screenUpdating equals true. People say, hey, look, when the macro ends, it turns it back to true anyway. You don't need to put that at the end. Okay, well, a couple of things. One, I will sometimes turn it back on to true just so that way the person can see some progress on the screen. And I've seen very rare instances where the Excel application was called by a DOS process where it did not turn the screen updating back to true, and the person was basically left with an Excel window where nothing was updating, and they had to reboot. So I do make a good habit of always putting application.screenUpdating equals true at the end. All right, so remember we had 7 seconds here. Let's see how it changes when we go back and run this again with screen updating is equal to false. So we're here on our data sheet, macros, click run. And let's go take a look in Visual Basic. So the first time it started at 30 seconds, ended at 37 seconds, so between 7 and 8 seconds. This time it started at 18 seconds and ended at 20 seconds, so between 2 and 3 seconds. We actually cut more than 50% of the processing time out of the process. Now, I added a few extra selects in here just to kind of slow it down. In real life, you would not be doing all of these .select and then selection.interior color index because that's not the way that we're going to write our code. So it would have been faster to begin with had I not been doing all those selections. However, you can still see it was a sizable increase. When you get up to the point where you have thousands of lines of code running and it's taking maybe 4 or 5 minutes to create this report, turning off the screen updating and then turning it back on, if that saves you 2 minutes of processing time, that's a huge savings, particularly if someone's just sitting there waiting for the report to run. Oh, I know, they're going down to get coffee, but if the coffee pot's not 5 minutes away, it's only 3 minutes away, then having that macro run faster, of course, is a huge benefit to everyone. So application.screenUpdating, use it all the time. A great way to speed up your macros. Well, I hope you found this lesson helpful, and thanks for watching.
Looking to advance your career by acquiring new skills? Tired of expensive off-site training programs? Wish you could learn from the best instructors in the industry? Look no further than live lessons. Self-paced, personal video instruction by the world's leading technology publishers. Each live lesson comes with a DVD featuring 3 to 4 hours of instructor-led classroom training, sample program code that allows you to work along with your personal instructor, and an example-rich study guide. Live lessons allow you to watch the entire course from start to finish, or navigate directly to any of the individual lessons. You'll literally watch over the shoulder of your instructor as he shows you how to build state-of-the-art applications. Live lessons, the power of the world's leading technology experts at your fingertips. To learn more, visit mylivelessons.com today.